So once I get my character pasted onto my background composition scene, you might notice some of your layers will get a little pixelated. It's right now it's because it's in a pixelated raster mode. And what we want to do is in your column here, just turn on. This is oops. If you hover over, here we go. Right here, this is to make things transform to vector. So we kind of want them to all be vector. Sorry, giving me a hard time here. I'm just trying to do this. So scale down and kind of turn that all on to make it all vectorized. That way the program knows it's vector. And then it should stay nice and sharp. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ignore this guy to start with. So I'm going to turn him off. Go down a little further. Okay, now I just have the background to deal with. So what we're going to do is we're going to start animating the background, and we're going to do that using these keyframes. So keyframes are kind of they use a timeline, and they create an animation along the timeline. So here's your timeline for each layer of the composition. So we're going to start here with a small moon. So you can click and move things around on this composition. If you need to like adjust things, you can definitely do that. But nothing is going to be recorded as an animation until you add a keyframe. And I'll show you what that is in just a sec. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just showing you a basic keyframe here. So maybe for this animation, I'm going to isolate the moon. So I click on the layer or click on the icon, make sure you're on the arrow tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this layer. So the little down arrow. And then I'm going to go down to transform. And as you can see, there's all of these transform options. So what I need to do is I need to look at these different transform options and decide what I want this moon to do. So I'm going to use the timeline to help lay out my animation. Now, if you go down here, you can see you can like really scale up the timeline. So it's showing you frame by frame. So if you're doing like a stop motion animation, it's frame by frame. Or you can do it into, fractions of a second or 1 second at a time. I'm going to keep mine on seconds for this particular one. So I have to decide, okay, I want the moon to float in, from the outside of the composition. I'm going to make my composition small so we can see. So I'm going to move my moon off the page. Now, nothing's being recorded yet because I haven't started the animation. So I'm just moving things around and getting them into position so I can start my animation. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my timeline at where I want at the point when I want the moon to start moving. So I'm going to have it start right from the beginning. And I'm going to have this moon come straight down into the scene from the top. Now, to start the animation, I have to click on the clock. And then I have to put my timeline and have it end where I want my animation to end. So let's just go in 5 seconds, just for an example, so you can see. So I can see I've set a keyframe that's called at 1 second, at 0 seconds at the start of the animation. And then my moon is going to move until about 5 seconds. Now I have to tell them which way and how I want my moon to move. So I have it set between 0 and 5 seconds. My moon is going to move. And then I have to decide how it's going to move. So what I can do is click on these numbers and I can pull to the right and that will move my moon down. And I can just pull it until I want it like here. Or I could have gone and moved this right or left and moved it left or right. So like this will go up and down, this second set of numbers, the other one will go left and right. So, okay, if I stop here, what's going to happen is my moon is going to move down into my scene in the first 5 seconds. So let's take a look at that. So what I can do to take a look at it is I can put this timeline back and I press spacebar and that will play the scene. So watch my animation. See it moving into the scene. Now, if I don't like how slowly it's moving, I can move this and make it end at a shorter period of time. So it'll move to that location and that point a lot faster.